What's going on, guys? Dan from SSG bringing you another Edison format deck profile. This time I'm profiling my Diva Hero Turbo deck. It's a very streamlined version of the Diva Hero deck. I've been having a lot of fun with it in playtesting. I think it's very good. And we have a full 3 copies of Tomato to start. Mystic Tomato, just a very, very consistent card that can get you into your engines like Destiny Hero Malicious very, very quickly and set up for some very explosive plays as early as on turn 1 or 2. So I like the full 3 copies. Just streamline, get your power card to the deck, get your engine flowing, and just try to be as aggressive as possible. This turbo list is all about aggression and being linear. I have the full 3 tomatoes for that reason. Of course, we have the full 3 copies of Diva, just to combo with our various cards that we want to combo it with. Of course, Tomato plus Diva, very strong card, having 2 Mallies essentially. Having the first one in play, Diva synchroing with it, and then removing the second one, getting another synchro out on turn 2. Very, very strong play there. We have the Spine Gillman, of course. A lot of ways to utilize this card in my build, personally. And you sort of can see that as the deck goes on. But, of course, 3 and 1 when it comes to the Diva package. I have 2 copies of Gravekeeper Spy, and this is just another way that this deck can be a linear aggro deck. Just setting this card on turn 1, your opponent attacks into it, you get another copy, and now Diva, bam, you have a big explosive play. I think this card is underplayed in the format as it's just very strong, and just having a good turn 1 starter. You want as many of those in the deck as possible when you want to go for a more linear aggro strategy, and this card just adds a lot of consistency, combos with a lot of different cards in the deck, so we're going to play 2 copies. We have 2 copies of Caius, just standard Caius here. I started out with 3, ended up going down to 2. It combos well with the Spies, combos well with Mystic Tomato. Just a very good card to drop down early in the game. We then have the hero package. Of course, we have Stratos, 2 copies of Malicious, and 1 copy of Evil Hero Prodigy. You just want the bare minimum. You just want the consistent package, whatever it needs to be. And I like these 4 a lot. Just kind of does what it needs to do. No additional prodigy or anything like that. Just want to be as linear as possible without getting rid of without having too many bricks in the deck. And I think the 4 heroes gets the job done. We then have Sangan to go fetch off of our Mystic Tomatoes, as well as the 1 copy of Plaguespreader Zombie. Just having access to these cards, very powerful, and the 3 tomatoes just getting you into those engine pieces. Sangan being able to search out Diva after, say, you sacrifice it for a Caius off of Tomato. Very strong card there. And Plague just being able to have powerful synchro monsters at your disposal, especially ones that present 2 tuner monsters. Very, very strong for this aggro-based version of the deck. We then have the 1 copy of Gale. This is kind of a tech card. I like it a lot. It combos with Gravekeeper Spy. It combos with getting it off of Mystic Tomato. It's a good card in a vacuum, just being able to beat over larger threats. Very strong card here. I think it also combos with another card that you will see. And we have 1 Gale. We then have Treeborn Frog, of course. I like this card a lot, just giving you access to different levels. Even though we're only running 2 Caius, comboing with Diva is very strong as well. And then we have 1 Dark Arm Dragon, of course. We're going to draw this card. We're going to win games. We know how Dark Arm Dragon goes. We have full 3 copies of Upstart Goblin. This is a very linear version of the deck. I want to be as aggressive and as linear as possible. And the full 3 Upstarts just get you into your power cards. And then the All-Star of the deck, we have 3 copies of Instant Fusion. I don't see too many Instant Fusions running around in these Diva Hero lists, but this card is incredible. Just gives you access to a lot of powerful Diva plays out of nowhere. This card plus Diva into just your opponent's back row, just baiting all that out into an open board can set up some really nasty things. This with a Malicious Engrave plus Diva, just giving you amazing, amazing options. And having access to levels that you don't normally have access to in the Synchro pile in your extra deck. Very, very strong here. You can also just sack for Caius out of nowhere. I think the card's just very strong, very underplayed, and it gives you access to a lot of powerful extra deck monsters, as we'll get into later on. But 3 Diva just adds speed and consistency to the deck, and having more extending cards in a build like this is just very, very powerful. So I went with all 3 copies of Instant Fusion. 3 copies of Miracle Fusion. We're a turbo deck. We want to have access to the most powerful cards we have. And 3 Miracle Fusion. We're going to try and set this up as early as possible and drop down Absolute 0. We have Future Fusion, of course, just the busted card of this deck. We then have Foolish Burial, kind of coinciding with Future Fusion. I like Foolish Burial in these style of decks, just getting the Malicious in your grave, setting up fast plays Very, very strong card. We then have Rhoda to go grab our Stratos. We have Allure of Darkness, very good card, just consistency card, similar to Rhoda, just getting through your deck. I then have Brain Control plus Mind Control. I like both of these cards when we have the extra tuners in Plaguespreader, Zombie, and Gale. Especially with Mystic Tomato, these cards are very strong. Just Tomato into your powerful tuner monsters, take their stuff, synchro, don't commit too much to the board, just start beating down with your synchro monster, make them commit to those back rows. Then on the following turn, go for your Diva, Mally, instant fusion plays. Very, very strong here. Just very, very powerful. I have the one copy of Heavy Storm as the last card in the spell section. As we move on to the traps, 3 copies of Wing Blast. We just want to be able to discard our Mally when we have to, being able to search Mally off of Stratos, and then discard it, setting up insane plays on the following turn, getting rid of those back rows, keeping our Absolute Zero attacking, not being walled like something like a Spirit Reaper or any other monster, just getting in the aggro game plan, attacking, keeping us on tempo, but also removing those back rows when we have to. And then we have Trap Dustshoot. Trap Dustshoot is really strong. We have 3 upstarts. We're going to try and get to this card, and we play it for that reason. Onto the extra deck, full 3 copies of Absolute Zero, of course, with the Future Fusions and the 3 Miracle Fusions, so we're going to run the 3 zeros. We then have the instant fusion targets of Magician King and Elemental Hero Mariner. Really strong cards. The level 5s are really strong, just giving you access to Arcanite Magician. This plus Diva equals Arcanite Magician. Really strong before you commit to your Miracle Fusions and your follow-up plays there. And also, just having access to a hero monster, a water hero monster, for Absolute Zero off of Instant Fusion, just very, very fast and very consistent at summoning the Absolute Zero very early in the game. And these 2 cards just combo well with Diva. You can make very, very interesting plays in combination with Treeborn Frog, Instant Fusion, Diva, just giving you a lot of different access to various levels in the extra deck. And I love these 2 cards in the deck, and Instant Fusion is amazing. A very high payoff and very fast card that contributes to our game plan. We have the Armory Arm, of course, for Armory Arm Colossal Fighter. We have the Catastor, just one Catastor, no magical android. The extra deck space is pretty tight due to the instant fusion. We have a Brionac, of course, as well as Goyo Guardian, just very high payoff creatures. This is going to win you a lot of games, and Goyo as well. Goyo is slept on a little bit, I believe. Card's very strong. We then have Black Rose Dragon and Arcanite Magician for our 7s. These are just the big payoffs for playing Instant Fusion. Having access to Black Rose in an Absolute Zero deck is really strong. Blow up the board, drop in Miracle Fusion after. Very, very strong there. Arcanite Magician, just very, very good grind card. Can get rid of back rows, get rid of big things in play. Then it can stick around, maybe get sacked for a caius. But overall, just very strong in combination with Instant Fusion. Just having access to this card is very powerful. And we're going to try and summon it as often as we can. We then have Stardust Dragon, Colossal Fighter, Dark End Dragon, really good card. We want to have access to it. Basically, Plague just gets us there. And then I have one copy of Mistworm as well. Mistworm, very strong. You have a lot of access to this card because of Gravekeeper Spy, because of the instant fusions. You have a lot of different ways to make this card, and it comes up more than you think. The instant fusions really do help you get there with Mistworm, and it's definitely a strong card. Onto the sideboard. We have the full 3 copies of DD Crow, of course, and 2 copies of Cyber Dragon. And then we're also signing the Chimeratech in the sideboard for the Cyber Dragons, just making sure we have enough space for everything we want in the extra deck. Just siding the one Chimeratech just gets the job done in that sense. The SSG staple, these 5, really strong. I like them a lot. The Chimeratech in the side for this profile. We then have Gores and Tragodia in the sideboard. No Gores in the main. I want to be as linear and as aggressive as possible in game 1. I find that Gores is often better suited in the sideboard of these linear aggro decks, just because we want to implode our game plan. We want to be enforce our game plan onto our opponent in game 1, and then we can worry about getting JD'd or whatever out of the game on the following games. You know, we can just bring in the Gores in the matchups where it's good. And although Gores can steal you a game, I just find it better in the sideboard of these very linear, hyper-fast aggro decks. We then have 2 copies of Lightning Vortex, just getting rid of boards, making sure Absolute Zero can beat down. Very strong card there. I then have MST plus 2 copies of Twisters. I like Twister a lot in these style of decks where you just want to aggro off your opponent. You don't want to just worry about cards like Royal Oppression, Skill Drain. When you need things to resolve on specific turns, that's when I like Twisters a lot, and I think it's very good in that reason. It's just more copies of MST for what this deck is trying to do, and it is definitely worth playing. Last card, we have 2 copies of Pulling the Rug. We don't want our tomatoes to get caius. Just bring this card in to protect against that and keep your game plan flowing. So that is the deck, guys. Let me know what you guys thought about in the comment section below. And definitely try this deck out. I think just having linear pieces to really push this deck's game plan going forward, make the combos easier. Just get into your combos, get into your powerful cards, and I think the Spy and the Mystic Tomato just get into your engines, help you combo with Diva, and then Miracle Instant Fusion can help you get out of some bad spots and just really make big plays out of nowhere and give you access to the powerful Arcanite Magician. That is the deck, guys. Without further ado, this is Dan V from SSG signing out.